All right, guys, the same tech billionaires, the same technocrats that are behind Donald Trump's Stargate, they're all part of that team. One of them being Sam Altman and OpenAI. They are all behind a Silicon Valley startup, and Coinbase, Brian Armstrong as well. All of these individuals are pursuing research that some fear could lead to the birth of genetically engineered babies, a step that's illegal under U.S. law and banned in most countries. But they are trying to get around this, and they want to make this a reality. Now, I want to ask you a question: why? And will this play into Stargate and the future of it? We're going to cover all of this on tonight's broadcast. Let's go.
The following program is brought to you by friends and partners of End Time Headlines.
All right, what's going on, guys? It is a brand new week of podcasts. It is Monday, November the 10th. We welcome you to End Time Headlines news and headlines from a prophetic perspective. I'm your host, Ricky Scaparo, the founder and the voice of End Time Headlines. And we just want to welcome you to the program. Perhaps this is your first time joining us. As always, let us know in the chat or the comment, depending on where you're watching and when you're watching this from, if you're new and where you guys are tuning in from. And I want to welcome you, and our admins want to welcome you as well. And you guys listening in from podcast, Apple, Spotify, whatever that looks like for you, we want to welcome you as well. We appreciate everybody that can help us out by hitting if you're watching the video platform of this, it would likely be YouTube. If you'll hit that like button, that would be a great blessing to us. And if you're watching or listening to this broadcast by Spotify or Apple, if you will give us a good review, that would be a blessing to us as well. And of course, you guys, if you'll take it a step further and subscribe to our program, again, whatever that looks like for you, visual, audio, or both, you can do that. And you can even take it a step further, guys. We do have a free app, and it is available on Apple and Android devices, and you can pick it up today, go into your Play Store, whatever that looks like for you. If you have an Apple device, you have an Android device, we've got you covered. Just go pick it up today, download our free app, hit yes to push notifications, and you're going to be squared away and have everything right at your fingertips. All right, guys, as we read at the beginning of this, I want to show you this article. This is a report from the New York Post. It's been cited by other outlets as well. Listen to tech billionaires back startup probing gene-edited designer babies despite a U.S. ban. I want to read a little bit of this, and we'll explain a little bit more about this in detail. A Silicon Valley startup backed by OpenAI, Sam Altman, and Coinbase's Brian Armstrong is pursuing research that some fear could lead to the birth of a genetically engineered baby. This is the question, guys, I want to ask you in the comments. They're saying that this could lead to this. I have to wonder, surely I'm not the only one that's thinking this. Has this already been done? Has there already been genetically engineered children created? Somewhere in a back laboratory, back room of a laboratory in some secluded area somewhere off the grid, whatever. You have to ask yourself, you have to wonder that. If you think that this has already been done, type yes in the comments. Okay? If not, hit no. But again, we're just going to stick with the narrative here. And they're saying that this could lead to a genetically engineered baby, a step that, again, is illegal under U.S. law and is banned in most countries. Its goal is to end hereditary disease by editing human embryos before birth, a claim that has ignited fierce debate over safety, ethics, and specter of designer children, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal. Preventive founder earlier this year by gene-edited scientist Lucas Harrington has raised $30 million and set up headquarters in San Francisco, where it is conducting research on modifying embryos to prevent hereditary disease. In case you're new to this and you haven't, we've done programs on this before, but the consensus of why they want to do this is there's a whole plethora of reasons. You got CRISPR. This is a technology that would be directly involved in this, no doubt, but it allows editing embryos to remove genes responsible for conditions such as cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, or Huntington's disease. This could, quote unquote, possibly eliminate entire hereditary illnesses. But moving on beyond disease prevention, editing could target intelligence, height, muscle density, or even eye color. This moves from therapy to enhancement, and this is where the deep moral ethics alarms go off. So, now this shouldn't be a surprise to you, because why these big tech giants are on board for this, because these guys like Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, they envision a future of cyborgs, of transhumanism. This is how they believe that the human race is going to reach immortality. So it should not be any surprise to you. In fact, these edits of this, these genetic editing, might even strengthen immune systems, slow the aging process, or boost metabolism, creating humans more resistant to disease, environmental toxins, or even radiation. Now, let's talk about the ethical and social implications of this. This is why it's been banned in most countries. For example, access to the genetic enhancements that would be required for this could lead to a biological elite these are the only ones that would be capable of even affording smarter, stronger, or healthier offspring. Again, why? Well, that explains why you've got these technocrat elites that are very well off that have no problem with this, because they'll be the ones, they'll have first dibs on this. So this could literally split society into what we would call natural individuals and genetically optimized individuals. Hello, clay, out of the dust of the earth you came, and then you have the iron and clay, or you have the hybrid, the mix group. Again, oh, come on, somebody. Anybody know anything about the days of Noah? Does this sound familiar to you? In the days of Noah, you had 8 souls that were pure blood, and then the majority of the earth, when you read that and you study it out in the book of Genesis, the entire bloodline became corrupted with genetic editing, if you would, modification, if you would, because the angels that held not their first estate, the ones that defied heaven, defied God, rebelled against heaven, came down, went into the daughters of men, and bore an offspring. Thus, there was a corruption in the bloodline. Okay, and God called it an abomination. Another argument to this would be that embryos aren't capable of consent. Think about it. They don't have consent to editing of their genetic makeover, and this would affect their entire lives, raising ethical concerns about autonomy and playing God. So whoever's hands is into that, they're essentially stepping in and playing God in this. This is why, folks, listen to me. This is why I really truly believe that we're coming to the end of the age. We're coming to the end of the end. I don't see God allowing this. If we cross into this threshold, and again, that's if we haven't already. But it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If Luke 17 says, as it were in the days of Noah and Lot, so shall it be at the return of the Son of Man, and this stuff was going on in the days of Noah, prior to the entire annihilation of the earth by a flood, to wipe out this corruption like this, it does pose the question. If this is already happening, how much longer do we got? And number two, if we haven't stepped into that yet, but this is something that they're working on, or they're pursuing, or that they have desires to do, it makes you wonder if God Almighty is going to permit this or allow this to happen. And if he does, could this, again, we're having a conversation here, guys. Again, chime in the chat, in the comments. Could this set the stage for a repeat of the days of Noah? Could demons be involved in this? Could fallen angels somehow, can we see a history repeat itself again? Could this open up the Pandora's box for this to happen again? That's the question we have to ask today. And you already know that if this was to take off, cultural preferences would shape editing choices. Think about it. Anything that takes off as a trend in the culture, the women jump on board with it, men jump on board with it, and then that image is created and everybody's striving to replicate that image. Look, I'm not picking on the ladies, but I'm just saying, look, the big lips came into popularity. So all these women out there getting lip fillers. Okay. And then all these women going out and getting BBLs. Now, for some of you guys that don't know what that is, they're enhancing their glutes to make them bigger. Now, who started these trends? Well, look no further than the Kardashians. Keeping up with the Kardashians, they're the trendsetters. One of, not the only, but they're one of the trendsetters. This is what we're talking about. And then the men are expected to look at a certain way. And then, and this is why, my gosh, man, the whole dating scene. And if you're single right now, and I couldn't imagine what it's like out there to find normal people. There's such synthetic people out there that are fake. There's so many, there's all these memes and jokes going around that once, this whole generation dies off, and then, later on down the road when archaeologists start digging up remains, they're going to find all kinds of, silicone parts. They're going to find, the fake this and enhance this and that. And it's just going to be like, what in the world is going on here? Because this is what we're creating. So what I'm trying to say is, if these designer babies and this trend takes off, it will, this, guys, I'm right on this. It will completely transform culture as we know it, and it will shape the choices that people make, favoring certain appearances and traits, perpetuating stereotypes and bias in genetic form. Nobody out there, they're going to have an image, and they're going to say, this is what I want. I want my kid to be this tall. I want them to be this color. I want them to have this eye color, this color hair. And again, whatever is popular, whatever is trendy, that's what would come out of this. All right, let's go back to this article. The company says its mission is to prove that technology can be made safe. Yeah, like artificial intelligence safe. Right. And transparent before any attempt to create a baby is made. Who's buying this right here? Who is buying that right there? Altman and Armstrong are among the firm's early investors. Altman's husband said he led their investment, calling it an effort to help families avoid genetic illnesses. Armstrong, who has publicly promoted embryo editing, posted he was, quote, excited to back preventative and argued it's far easier to correct a genetic defect in an embryo than to treat it later in life. But federal law prohibits the FDA from considering applications for human trials involving genetically edified embryos used to start pregnancy. Now, how many, look, I'm not being serious here, but how many, I'm willing to wager a bet here. And I'm not being serious, so don't slam me in the comments, guys. But if I was a betting man, based on what they did with Elon Musk and Neuralink, remember they condemned human trials of the brain chip interface, but what eventually they gave into that and they caved into it. And now we've got there's 20,000 people lined up to do that. So who believes that eventually they're going to cave into this? Enough influence, enough pressure, enough money, They're going to cave into this and they're going to allow this. Guarantee it. Harrington, who earned his doctorate under CRISPR, there it is, pioneer Jennifer Doudna denied that Preventative is preparing to implant an edited embryo or working with a couple to do so. So he's denying it. He said the company's focus is preclinical research on whether editing embryos can be done safely. Quote, "We're not trying to rush things. We are committed to transparency in our research and will publish our findings, whether positive or negative. People familiar with Preventative's operations, told the journal that the company had explored foreign jurisdictions, including the UAE, where embryo editing might be permitted." Oh, lovely. Harrington said, and this is why I believe that this may have already been happening, guys, and taking place. Harrington said work outside the U.S. was being considered only because of regulatory restrictions, not to evade oversight. The company has recruited advisors from reproductive medicines and genetics. Preventative's website describes it as a public benefit cooperation, meaning it can legally prioritize such good alongside profit. Its charter defines that purpose as the, quote, responsible advancement of genome editing technologies applied before birth to benefit humanity. The effort echoes the 2018 scandal in which Chinese scientist He Jiankui created the world's first the world's first gene-edited baby twins whose embryos have been altered to resist HIV. So there you go, guys. If that's true, then there's the answer. It has already been done. Again, a Chinese scientist in 2018 allegedly was the world's first gene-edited babies, or created the world's first gene-edited baby twins whose embryos had been altered to resist HIV. He served 3 years in prison for illegal medical practices. Scientists say it remains unclear how the edits affected the children who have not been publicly identified. So there, we've answered. This goes to show you guys, I'm reading this in real time as we're doing this. When I saw the headline, I knew I wanted to talk about this today. Okay, I didn't screen all this. So I'm finding out this in real time. And come to think about it, I remember we reported on that in 2018. I just forgot. Guys, you got to remember, you know how many of these articles and reports and research that we do week after week after week, it gets lost in the shuffle. And sometimes you don't remember this stuff, but now it all makes sense. I'm like Celine Dion. It's all coming back to me now. Some of y'all don't even know what I'm talking about, but that was an early 90s artist, very popular singer. But anyway, so we've answered that question. So this has already been done. So who believes? Let's change the question now, because we got to erase that. We got to. That's old now. Now it's, do you believe that's the only gene-edited babies, which were twins, that have been created, or do you believe that this has happened more than that one time? If you believe that, hit yes in the chat. If no, hit no. I believe there's a lot. I believe these people are walking around among us, and they're not normal. They're not pure bloods. And this is creepy, but it sets the stage for the end times, in my opinion. I believe it sets the stage for scenarios that could be fulfilled in the end times. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. In fact, let's get a little bit into that right now. So being that Sam Altman is on the board of the Stargate project. Now, what is this? Let me refresh your memory. Project Stargate is an AI infrastructure venture backed by major firms, including OpenAI, Sam Altman, Oracle, and SoftBank. The aim is to invest up to $500 billion in the U.S. in the coming years, building massive data centers, which they're already doing that, digital infrastructure, and deploying AI at massive scale, and eventually super AI. And they're already working on that. Some of the stated applications include healthcare. Think about it. Early cancer detection, personalized mRNA vaccines, and big data healthcare records with AI assistance. And they're all working towards this. So the theme basically is a massive infrastructure for AI that incorporates healthcare and data all in one package. So, of course, Sam Altman would be interested in this. And so here comes another question for you, ladies and gentlemen. If this eventually gets the green light and this venture gets the green light to go into this and experiment with this, could this be incorporated into Stargate, and why would that be? Why would they incorporate this into Stargate? Let's bring up some hypothetical scenarios that, like we always talk about. Again, if you take a human being and you genetically modify them, you now have individuals with engineered genetic traits that have better memory, they have enhanced disease resistance, they have improved physical or mental traits. You generate a new kind of human data that now interacts with the environment, health, and AI meditated environments. So if there's a project that's aimed at the, quote, future of technology, wouldn't you think that it might argue that the ultimate end point, the end game of these people is humans who are integrated with or enhanced by AI biotech and not just machines? And again, go research these guys. This is their vision, guys. This is what they want. Think about this. One of Stargate's goals is healthcare, early detection, personalized treatments. If you have the ability to edit out hereditary disease risk before birth, then you reduce downstream healthcare costs, data noise, mortality, and morbidity. And that's going to be a selling point. From an infrastructure viewpoint, edited babies means better baseline health. It means more predictable lifetime data trajectories. It means better AI models for health prediction and prevention. Look, just like they're going to convince the world to embrace a digital identity and then eventually embrace the mark of the beast system, this is all, I could see how this could play right into it. Because if you convince a society to do this in the name of better off, in the name of the better of society, then it'll be a selling point and people will line up to do it. And you do realize there was a report that came out last week. One expert said that China is on track to beating America in AI development. And now I can tell you right now, that does not set well with Donald Trump. It doesn't set well with Sam Altman. It won't set well with Peter Thiel. It won't set well with Elon Musk. It won't set well with these big technocrat tech giants. Okay, so that you have the AI race with China as the leading competitor, and it's partly about human talent and capabilities. So if we were able to engineer children to have higher cognitive function, resilience, creativity, we would literally be, in essence, building a next generation workforce aligned with AI infrastructure needs, programming, designing, research. Think about it. They don't get tired. They don't get fatigued. They don't need sleep. They don't need rest. They don't need food. They don't need entertainment. In a domestic industrial strategy, you're literally designing humans suited to a highly automated AI-driven society. So if you have a machine and data infrastructure, aka Stargate, being constructed along with biotech genome editing as a frontier zone, the convergence of these two would create hardwired humans to be capable of advancing software, AI upgrades, and then there's where you get your cyborgs, and that's where you get your transhumanism. For example, edited humans might interface with AI more directly. We're again, brain, machine, augmented cognition, or produce new biological data for AI systems. So ladies and gentlemen, let me just bring this on home, okay? I spent a lot of time on this tonight. I think we're going to get right to the point on this. Where is this all leading, Brother Ricky? I'm going to tell you where I think it's leading. When you have these gene editing tools like this in the hands of mortal men, companies and corporations, like CRISPR, it allows scientists to modify DNA with extreme precision, potentially erasing diseases, enhancing intelligence, and even creating entirely new biological traits. Again, we're talking about stepping in a role of essentially playing God. And this echoes Genesis chapter 6, again, with the daughters of men that were impregnated by these angels that produced this race of giants, these Nephilims, the men of renown. And then those men, those giants, those wicked men, begin to teach humanity all kinds of corrupt and evil things, even as much as taking animals of one species and mingling its DNA and its blood with other species, and even humans with beasts. And again, this is why God called it an abomination and wiped out the earth. Now we fast forward here and we go to the future and we get into the tribulation, Revelation 13. There is a beast system that will be a global government combining political, technological, and economic control, where society will not be able to buy, sell, or trade without this coming mark. Could, again, this is an hypothesis, could this technology, gene editing, become a part of this control structure? Now, let me give you a couple thoughts on this. Number one, genetic identity could replace digital ID. Now, again, these are steps, guys. We haven't even we got to get to the full embracing of digital identification first, which that's coming. That's their goal. They want that. That's coming by 2030. Have you ever read or heard about Agenda 2030? They want all of it. They want humanity to embrace a digital identification. Well, where do we go from that? We know where it goes, guys. Eventually it goes to this beast system, the mark of the beast. But could genetic identity eventually this could be incorporated in that? It says a DNA-linked access to buying, selling, or any kind of movement or activity in the earth. Governments or corporations engineer obedience, loyalty, or compliance traits into citizens. Think about that. What do you mean? Well, think about it. If you begin to create an entire generation that's been gene edited, whoever's creating and splicing and editing those genes, they can manipulate those genes. They can do something to them. They could do something to provoke obedience, loyalty, or compliance. It's kind of like the kill switch. I'm just saying, we did a whole podcast on that one time, and we talked about the generation of iron and clay. If you've got a whole generation starting to embrace transhumanism, and you got a bunch of people walking around that are half human and half robots, well, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that the developer has the kill switch on it. And if you have a system that rises up of an antichrist and a false prophet who are controlling the databases, they can literally, this is how they can, with one mass swoop, one mass command, and a flip of a switch, they can make an entire race of people just bow down and worship an image that's created. Think about it. I've got your wheel spinning. That's what if I've got your wheel spinning, then I've done my job. That's what I want you to do. This is thought-provoking. AI and biotechnology merge, creating biosurveillance linked to the mark of the beast. Is it possible? I don't know. But this is where we're heading. All this is playing into it. If these guys have their way, they want this to be a part of our society. You got to remember this, guys. Satan has ultimately wanted to counterfeit God's creation. This is part of his deception. Gene editing could be viewed as an attempt to rewrite God's design, because Satan knows he can't destroy God's creation. So what does he do? Misery wants company. So he tries to take most of humanity with him into the lake of fire. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out here that if he can't destroy humanity, he wants to rewrite God's design, produce a new, quote, perfect humanity apart from God himself. Because I would question if these people even have a soul. If God's not a part of this and we're creating humans in a lab, are you hearing what I'm saying here? And think about this, in Revelation 13:15, the beast, listen to this, gives life to an image. What? I thought it was God who gives life. No, in Revelation 13:15, the beast gives life. Now that word life there is the same, it's the same as the Hebrew word in the Old Testament, meaning Zoe, the breath of life, a living being. But it's the beast who gives life to this. And again, this could be a reference to a synthetic, artificial, created life form. Hello, AI. It's an AI created being that is, that its genes has been edited and developed. Think about AI right now, guys. We have now entered into a threshold of society where we can create images and videos that look so real that the average individual cannot distinguish if it's AI or if it's reality. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So what do you think is going to happen when this image of the beast is created? In other words, listen to this. If humanity embraces a generation of genetic perfection, it will replace the need for spiritual redemption. And all this is going to do is produce false promises of immortality through science instead of through Christ. Wow. So again, folks, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today because I know this was a heavy thought today. But as soon as I saw that article, I knew I was going to have to talk about this. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Maybe there's something I'm missing that you thought of. Please let us know in the comments. Hit us up in the chat. Let us know your thoughts on this. But we always conclude with this. Luke 21:28, Jesus said, when you begin to see all of these things coming to pass, look up and lift up your heads because your redemption is drawing near. Again, endtimeheadlines.org, endtimeheadlines.com. That's going to be our main landing page, our main website. Please bookmark that site. And again, if you don't have our free app, download it today. You can pick it up on your app store, whatever that looks like for you. Again, Google Play, Apple, the Apple App Store. You just type in End Time Headlines, look for the official trademark logo, download it, hit yes to push notifications. If you're watching the description of this video, in the description, it says download our free app. If you'll just click on that link, it'll take you right there to it, and you can download the app as well. And as always, guys, if this ministry blesses you with weekly information, equipping, encouragement, and all of the above, and you'd like to pray about becoming a monthly partner of our ministry, we want to give you an opportunity right now to partner with ETH. So here's a little bit of information on that, and we'll be right back.
If you enjoy our content and would like to partner with End Time Headlines, helping us make more people aware of the times and seasons which we are in from a prophetic perspective, you can go to endtimeheadlines.org and click Support. Here you can give a one-time gift or a monthly pledge on our main website. This page also shows you how to give electronically through Cash App or Venmo. If you would like to give by check or money order, you can make it out to End Time Headlines at P.O. Box 1391, Monroe, Georgia 30655. Or you can give through our free End Time Headlines app by pressing the bottom right button that says Donate.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Monday night, November the 10th. We will be back, Lord willing, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, November the 11th. Right here, same time, same place, same channel, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have another great program for you. I hope that if it's your first time, I hope you come back. I hope you be a part of our program tomorrow, and I hope you subscribe and be a part of our family here at End Time Headlines. So we're going to sign off for tonight until we see you guys on the next one. I pray the Lord bless you, keep you, and may his countenance shine upon you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to the End Time Headlines podcast. We pray that you've been blessed and equipped by today's message. For more information about how you can help partner with our ministry, please visit endtimeheadlines.org.